is done by evaporation pools, solar. So chapter 19. And there came two angels to Sodom at the even, and Lot sat in the gate of Sodom. Now again, this is Mount Sodom on the left side of the bus. This is a pure salt rock over here. And Lot, seeing them, rose up to meet them. And he bowed himself, his face towards the ground. And he said, Behold now, my lords, turn in, I pray you, into your servant's house, and tarry all night. And said, I pray you, brethren, do not so wickedly. Behold, I have two daughters which have not known man. Let me, I pray, bring them out unto you, and do ye to them as is good in your own eyes. Only unto these men do nothing, for therefore came they under the shadow of my roof. And they said, Stand back. And they said again, This one fellow came in to... This is chapter 13, verse 10. And Lot lifted up his eyes and beheld the plains of Jordan, that it was well watered everywhere, before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, even as the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt, as thou comest unto Zoal. Then Lot chose him all the plains of the Jordan, and Lot sojourneyed east, and they separated themselves one from another. Abraham dwelt in the land of Canaan, and Lot dwelt in the cities of the plain, and pitched his tent towards Sodom. Brothers and sisters, so here we are right next to the Dead Sea, and this is Ein Bokek over here. This is where our hotel is going to be tonight. And we're going to go a little bit forward and make our way to Metzada, and hopefully we'll get into Metzada pretty soon, and we'll visit Metzada, and if we are able to climb down, if that is okay, if they allow it at this hour, we'll be happy to do so if they don't mind. And when we're done, we'll get back on the bus, and we'll come back over here to Ein Bokek. This is where our hotels are, at Ein Bokek. So, the next site that we're about to visit is one of the most visited sites in Israel. It's also a UNESCO Site of Heritage of Mankind. And I, for many years, thought to myself, what's the big deal about Masada? Why do people come to Masada? I mean, what happened in Masada? A whole bunch of people died there. Why does people from all over the world, it's so important for them to come to Masada? And I do not know why. But what Masada symbolizes to me is hope and restoration. Because Metzada is actually the last stand of the Jews against the Romans, when the Romans totally wiped them off. And this was their last stand, and it kind of symbolizes to me the destruction of the land, the destruction of the rebellion, the destruction of the temple, and it seemed like hopeless. It seems like that was it. When they left here, nothing else, there was nothing else here left of the kingdom of Judah. And they exiled the people, and they destroyed the land. But nevertheless, here we are today, traveling in this bus, and the nation of Israel, by the grace of God, He gathered His people back to this earth. He gathered them back from the four corners of the earth and brought them here again. And today, we're another nation in this land, there are still Jews here. So, a little bit of background of Metzada. First of all, who gives us the account of Metzada? It's a man by the name of Flavius Josephus. Josephus Flavius, his actual name was Yosef ben Matityahu, and he was a Jew from the priesthood families. Now, during the 1st century, after the death of Herod the Great and his sons, Herod Antipas and Herod Philippi, eventually the Romans stopped having Jewish kings here, and they just brought governors. And it just got real tough on the Jews living here. The Roman occupation got harder and harder by the day. And it came to a point where they decided that they had enough of it and they're going to rebel against the Romans. And all the priesthood families, like the families of Josephus, most of them are Sadducees. But Josephus, he was pretty unique because he was a Pharisee. But anyhow, the priesthood and all the noble people of Judah, they had no interest of rebelling against the Romans. And every time this idea would come up, they would do everything in their power to change that and not to let that happen. Because they were doing pretty well off of their brethren and under the Roman occupation. As the priesthoods, they enjoyed Herod's temple and they enjoyed all the commissions that came with that. And by the days of Jesus, it was a very big money-making machine, the temple. And we hear about the teachings of Jesus, and we read about the actions of Jesus to see that even he went against that. And the biggest difference between the Sadducees, the priesthood families, the elite, and the Pharisees, which was more like the People's Party, was the faith in resurrection. The Pharisees said, you know, this whole issue here of living here in the flesh, if it's 50, 60, 70, by the grace of God, 80 years, that's not what we're here for, but we're here for something everlasting. And if you live a right life according to the Lord, when the resurrection comes, you'll be able to do well. The soul that sinneth, it shall die. And you can do that by reading the Word and staying in the Word. You don't need a priest to tell you what it says or teach you, but you can read it for yourselves. And the priesthood, all the Sadducees, they said, no, that's a bunch of nonsense. There is no such thing as a resurrection. You have to live according to God's will on this earth, and if you make any mistakes, you're going to pay with it with your life. The only way you can continue living is not through a resurrection, but through an animal sacrifice at my temple that you have to pay a tax to go into. So that was the biggest differences between them. And eventually the leadership of Israel, when they saw that they're not able to stop this rebellion from happening, and if they haven't made it out of here by now, it's too late. So they join the rebellion as well, and they take the leadership of the rebellion. They send Josephus, who maybe had some kind of a military training, a Roman military training. They send him to the north, and he is to prepare the